Welcome to the Max Impact Theory podcast. I am your host, Tim Rosanelli, here with my producer, Justin Olivieri.
Hey, yo.
All right, guys. Well, let's get started right away. So we're back here after the holidays. So how was your holiday, Justin?
It's pretty good. I
Good?
had to see you the whole time, but, besides that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could say the same thing.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I think you saw me less because I took a week off, right? So you didn't see me at
that's
night,
true.
too.
That's true.
But I had a great holiday. I basically said I was going to do a whole lot of stuff and then just sat around the whole time.
Yeah, it's not the way it always works.
But it was good, refreshing, got me ready for the new year. Today's podcast, we are going to do a special issue because we are going into the spring. Well, hopefully soon we'll be going into the spring and people will be thinking about camping. And we thought that it would be pretty cool to go through, some of the different styles of camping that you could, actually go and do. Most people know the first one, which is just basically tent camping. Okay, tent camping is, basically getting a tent and camping out somewhere with it. You could do this in many ways. There's actually campgrounds. When we were younger, we used to go to a local campground and just go camping overnight, at a local campground at a park.
We used to do canobles every year.
Oh, yeah.
So we would go back and forth. Sometimes we'd have a trailer. My dad would fix trailers up and then sell them.
Oh, okay.
So we'd have like a trailer. He'd fix it up a little bit, and then next year he'd fix it up a little more and then sell it, and then we'd be back to tent camping, and then he'd buy another one.
We when we were younger, we did canobles, but we did a lot of camping for vacations, and we always had one tent, and my brother and sister hated sleeping in the tent, so they would sleep in the vehicle, which we had a van at that time, and I always slept in the tent. I liked sleeping in the tent. Maybe it was because I wanted to get away from my brother and sister too. That's also a possibility.
Where's the coolest place you ever camped?
In my lifetime or when I was a kid?
Just best time in your life.
I think one of the coolest camping, and this was more of a camping hiking trip, was West Virginia in college. We just signed up. They had like a what was it, an outdoor club or something, and they would sponsor trips, and they went down. I can't even remember where it's been so long, where in West Virginia, but we did a hike, and it was like a 5-mile hike out. Spent a few days. I think it was like 2 overnights. We actually went spelunking because there was caving there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then we walked all the way back. And that was probably one of the coolest things. I also had a really good time when I went hiking with a bunch of other martial artists, and I was in the Sierra Nevadas mountains in California, I guess. Right? That's California. Yeah, California. I can't remember if it was in Nevada part or yeah, it was in California, and that was pretty cool. I have some great stories from there. In fact, we were camping once. When we were there, and I just remember one of the guys was kind of like, hey, maybe this is a warning to everybody too. Hey, I have to go to the bathroom. And I remember watching this guy. We were on this like alpine lake. It was like 4,000 feet up or something like that. And it was beautiful. And this guy walked over this ridge and then never came back. And we're sitting there for like an hour. And we're like, where did he go? I mean, he said he was just going over to the woods, to relieve himself. And after much searching, we had to climb up to a really high point, and we're looking down, and we kind of saw him with the binoculars, and he was probably in the binoculars, I think it was a mile away.
Oh,
and he was just sitting there with his hands in his head in his hands, sitting on the edge of a trail.
Turned around in there.
Yeah, he wasn't. One of the biggest dangers, I guess, is just he didn't drink enough water, and then he got disoriented, and it happens really, really fast. I mean, you don't realize how quickly this dehydration, especially when you're at high altitudes like that, can affect your orientation and everything.
Yeah, that's scary.
But that was cool because it wasn't even. I don't even think we have this type of. Well, I think we might have this on the list, but
we're doing a list of different types of camping.
Yeah,
today.
So that wasn't tent camping actually. That was just sleeping in a sleeping bag out in the open.
Well, it's more like backpacking, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
The coolest place that I've ever camped, like we talked about this before. We've both done like survival camping and stuff.
yeah,
And it's cool, but it's not enjoyable while you're doing it most of the time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's like, I did it and it accidentally, was during a snowstorm. so,
So you're not gonna say that's your favorite?
Yeah, it's not my favorite place. Probably when I was a kid, I read like books about Assateague and Chincoteague. They used to be one island. It's two islands, or no, it's two islands. Off the it's near Maryland. And they have wild horses there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something about a Spanish ship crashed and they had horses on there, and then they swam to shore, and they kind of just
took over the island.
Yeah, been there ever since. So you can go there as a beach, you can camp and stuff like that. Horses walking by and stuff. So that was pretty cool. We camped there. I think it's Chincoteague you can camp on, but you can't camp on Assateague because they make one where like you're not allowed to one's very limited.
Yeah, because
to
they
where
want
you can
they
go.
want an area for the horses
And
to
then
be
the
wild.
other one is you can there's a campground and a ranger station and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. It used to be connected to Ocean City, Maryland, and then there was a tornado or something that came through and
wiped it out,
tore off the land between the two, and so now they're disconnected. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
because I used to live there, so people would talk about it.
We went there, and it was one of those kind of things. And this has happened to me before, where I remember when we were kids, we went there and drove. We were doing I guess driving, kind of like tour of it, and we didn't see any horses at all.
Yeah,
because I guess they were all in some other area, and we didn't get. And we were just basically driving through. I was kind of disappointed, but
first time I went, we didn't see any horses, but it was kind of rainy and miserable.
Yeah,
and so they were all in the woods and stuff.
Now, if you were camping for a while, I can imagine you'd see.
Well,
them more
I've never gone there after the first time and not seen a horse because they're on the beaches and stuff. When it's not completely raining out, they'll go towards the shore to get away from the horse flies.
Oh, okay.
That's the one thing, because of all the horses. There's tons of horse flies.
There's
horse flies as big as your thumb. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, we were at a beach.
They hurt too.
Once we were at a beach in Hawaii, and there was wild horses there. Waiupio Beach. You have to walk down this treacherous hill to get down to this, but it was really cool once you're down there. I think it's called Waiupio Beach.
Okay, I thought you said YUPO.
Yeah,
YUP,
something.
yo.
It's something like that. But those horses were really they wouldn't let you touch them, but they were really bold. They were hanging out with us, and then as soon as you went into the water, if you had I saw them go into somebody's bag and grab an apple out of their bag while they were in the water.
Yeah,
they were pretty smart.
You have to be careful. The one thing that people doesn't because they're not big horses. They're on the smaller side.
Yeah,
because they weren't bred their lineage is pretty old.
Yeah. These were full-size horses in Hawaii.
Yeah, these horses are
Those
pretty
are
old,
small.
and so
they're smaller.
Their
right?
lineage is older, so they weren't because the horses now aren't what horses used to be. Horses used to be smaller.
Well, they're more like ponies down there, right?
They're there are some small ones and some bigger ones, but they are kind of like big ponies. But people will go up and try to touch them all the time.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the big no-nos, and so
Yeah.
people get kicked.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get one horse pissed off, he just starts running after everybody.
Yeah. When we were going there, and this was again with martial artists, and we saw the wild horses, and I remember there was this one guy, Dan Sicken. So if Dan's out there listening, what's up? Okay, but he went over to pet one of these horses, and there was no warnings
Danny
about him.
Boy.
He went over to pet the horse. That horse whipped around and tried to kick him so fast. Dan was lucky he was quick like a martial artist to jump out of the way, because he almost got full on kicked by a horse. Pretty wild. I even warned him. I said, "You better not try to pet that."
I know this is getting sidetracked, but we're talking about horses on a beach. So I used to work with an artist in Ocean City, Maryland when I lived there, and he used to do sand sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'd dig big piles of sand, and then he'd sculpt out of them, and then we'd spray it with this Elmer's glue water,
Mm-hmm.
and then we put it in like a weed sprayer. And so basically it turned that sand into cement, and the thing would last, like, they've lasted through like rainstorms and stuff for like about 2 weeks, and then they start breaking off, and we'll tear it down and then do a new one. And so this one drunk dude went up and decided to try to kick him. And so he busted his toes. Like, he scratched them up, and he broke all his toes on his one foot. So he's wearing flip-flops. So he went over there and kicked it. And then the police officers came over to stop him because they called it they charged him with more because there's more to the story. But they charged him with destruction of public property. Like, that's not public property. He's like, well, it's made by the public, for the enjoyment of the public, on public property with public sand. So it's, they just wanted to nail him because, like, this guy's making art for people to see, and he goes over there and tries to kick it.
Yeah.
But it's like
I have a
kicking
good
a cement rock. So then,
okay, go ahead.
Then,
I have a sand art story for you.
So
though,
the guy comes over, and the police officer comes over, and he's one of the mounted ones. So they have bicycle, walking. They have a couple patrol cars, but they have a lot of horse police officers. And so he came over, and the dude tried to he started yelling at the cop and stuff like that. And then he went to go hit the horse, and the police officer like said something and yanked on the reins a little bit, and the horse kicked the dude. And the dude went flying.
Oh, man.
And he didn't get up.
Yeah,
Then the other officers came over and, collected him, and he did not look too good. He got kicked in the upper shoulder area
by a horse. Oh, man.
And it wasn't a gentle kick either.
Yeah. So here's my sand art story. We were once in Santa Monica Beach. It was after a karate camp, and everybody that was in our group, they decided they wanted to go rollerblading, right? And they were really good. I never had rollerbladed before. It was the first time. So I rented out some rollerblades, and we were cruising, and we're going down Venice Beach. And I think they have they call it the concrete sidewalk. And there's these guys out there, and they're making, sand art. And I'm like, rollerblading along, barely able to do it, lose my balance, fall into this guy's sand art.
Oh, man.
And the guy was just sitting there staring at me. Now, luckily, I put my hand down. That's what stopped me. And it was in the part that he hadn't done anything yet.
Okay.
And it was like this really beautiful sand art of Jesus. And I'm like, oh, man. It's like, I'm glad I didn't ruin that. That would not have been good to ruin the sand heart of Jesus.
Yeah. Was there a bunch of people doing it, or was it just him?
He was the artist. He was like this hippie dude.
Sometimes they have competitions, like sand art competitions.
Yeah.
They'll have a bunch of people just make sand art.
There was a lot of people making sand art down there. I don't know if there was a competition going on, or it was just kind of like a thing they did. I just remember that I almost ruined this guy's.
The competitions are cool because you see a bunch of really talented artists making
now I feel
the
even
best
worse.
sandcastles you ever seen.
Now I feel worse. The guy he lost the competition from me. Probably. So, all right,
let's
get back to
topic.
Camping. So, tent camping. Now, one of the best ways, okay, and we're going to go into backyard camping. So this kind of uses tent camping. This is a great way to introduce your kids. And we probably all did this as kids. You get your tent out and you set it up in your backyard. And you almost, act like you're camping in your backyard. And it's a great way to introduce kids to it. I'm sure that, we'll be doing that with Elijah soon.
Yeah. Well, the best thing is you don't have to pack a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're at a campsite, if you don't bring it, then you have to go get it.
Yeah.
And you usually don't camp close to your house. So because it's in the backyard, it's almost like a trial run for you too.
So if you forget the marshmallows and chocolate and graham crackers for s'mores, you just walk inside and grab them.
And you don't teach, unless you have a nice big backyard, don't teach your kids how to go to the bathroom outside. That's not the time to do it.
Well, the other thing too is, if your kids are kind of might be afraid of being out in the tent, they can always go inside.
Yeah, that's
Get them
true
used
too.
to doing it on their own
Yeah.
instead of taking them out and trying to have them do camping right off the bat.
Well, another thing is when you're doing it and say it's not the greatest day out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if you're out there and you like planned a weekend camping trip,
Yeah.
and then it rains the whole weekend, you're like, let's just do it next weekend. You can't do that when you're out.
That's true. That's true. All right, so that's backyard camping. Now we're gonna head into the next one.
So
what's
you
the
got
next one?
trailer camping, right? Now we're gonna talk about glamping in a little bit. Some people believe trailer camping's glamping. I don't think it is. I think it's bougie tent camping.
So okay, so you're saying trailer camping pop up, like just
No,
pulling up with a pop up camper?
you can do a travel trailer too.
Okay.
Now, me and my family have recently went out and looked at trailers. They're a lot nicer than they used to be.
Oh, okay.
Like, my dad used to have 30, 40-foot trailers.
Oh, okay.
And they're cramped. You have a kitchen, and you have a bathroom that you barely fit in, and then you have, like, some really uncomfortable beds. Ones we were looking at, they have a master bedroom, another bedroom with bunk beds. You got a bathroom with a tub and a sink and a shower in the tub, like that you could actually sit in. You got like a nice kitchen with a gas stove. You got it was not like full fridge.
Okay,
in there.
so I'm thinking like
Dining room
pop-up.
table, and we're not even down to like the eating. Like we're not even down to like the couch area with the TV.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like pop up. That's almost like having.
I've
a
never
tent.
camped in a pop up.
Yeah, it's almost like a pop up would be a one level below trailer, I think, because you're talking about almost like it's almost like a tent
on
that you.
wheels.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
tent
a tent on wheels.
Yeah, there you go, a tent on wheels.
It goes like tent, and then you get 10 on wheels, which is a pop up trailer. The reason people do pop up trailers is it's good for just like you and your spouse or something.
Yeah.
To be in there because there's a bed and there's a little spot for like a stove if you really need to.
Yeah.
But it's more just like you can hook it on the back of a car. It's not very heavy, so you don't need a truck to
Yeah.
pull it. But most of the trailers that I've camped in were like travel trailers that you hook on the back of my dad's. We would hook it on the back of my dad's Suburban.
Yeah.
And then pull it.
Well, the advantage of a trailer, I think, is over a regular RV is the fact that you are hooking it up to something, so you can unhook it and then you can use your vehicle to go out and do other things.
I've seen a lot of RV people will hook a car on the back of their RV.
Yeah, I've seen that. It just seems like, but I don't
don't
know.
want to take that RV to the shop right down the street.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like it would be easier just to have a trailer and hook it up with a truck, and then you can pull the truck
There's
off.
pros and cons.
Because I would think you would have to have a pretty small car on the back, tugging a smaller car along.
I mean, I haven't seen trucks or anything, but I've seen like sedans.
Yeah.
But the advantage of a trailer over tent camping is my mom loved the trailer for this one simple reason. All of the camping stuff stayed in the trailer. We didn't have to pack it up every time.
Oh, okay.
All we had to do was pack like sleeping bags and like our clothes.
You just had to make sure everything was nailed down enough that it wouldn't
well, I mean, like
fly around.
You'd have the cabinets with latches, but we always had all the silverware. We had all the napkins and all, like, we only had to bring like perishable items and clothes.
So you could basically leave everything you want to use in the trailer instead of having to like
already
pack
packed
everything up and maybe losing your favorite silverware on the way, in some campground.
Well, it's just you forget less.
Tulsa.
You know what I mean? Like, you have less chance of forgetting things. Like, to go camping, you say, all right, let's go camping, instead of, all right, we have to get all this stuff together to go camping. My mom liked it when we were smaller. When we got older, we didn't do as much trailer camping.
Yeah.
But when you have small kids, it's because you just tell them to go take a nap in there. It's a little homier than a tent.
With the trailer, too, if you have additional people, you can always take a tent with you. And,
we would do that if we went camping with friends. The adults would sleep in the trailer, and then the kids would sleep in tents outside.
Yeah. Yeah, give the kids the tents. It's like the kids get the tents.
Yeah.
But Esther and I, we would love to get some kind of a like a trailer to it sometime. Esther was thinking just like a pop up would be cool, because we wanted to. She wants something that we
could tow that on the back of the Subaru.
Yeah, and we could take all the dogs.
Well, did you see
us.
we have a trailer place down the street where they have those
yeah,
teardrop trailers?
Is that on 313? You mean?
Yeah. Down by the
They're small. They're pretty small, but they would probably be big enough for me.
That's about the size you get from a pop-up trailer too.
Well, I think.
But the things that are nice about the teardrop trailers are they're waterproof. Pop-up campers are notorious for leaking.
Oh, leaking, yeah.
Yeah, so even if you have like a pop-up trailer, you're probably going to want to put like a tarp system on top so that you're not getting rained on.
Yeah, the reason why we never got to that point was, well, where we live, we're not allowed to have a trailer in our backyard or in our driveway, so we'd have to find somewhere to put it on, when we're not using it. So
yeah, and I got street parking, so you can't keep it at my house.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. One of us got to get some
my parents would let you keep it at their house. There's trailers there.
Maybe for some use rights. Yeah. So that's trailer camping, and we kind of went into a little bit of RV camping. So RVs when you have the
it's the step. It's like you go tent camping, or you go tent camping, pop-up camping, because that's not trailer camping. Trailer camping, and you got RV camping, which is they're nicer than trailers most of the time. They're basically like tour buses.
Yeah, that
are outfitted to live in.
Well, they're almost like those like some of them nowadays are almost like little tiny homes where they actually have, where they collect water. I've seen them where they collect water. They have solar. They're totally solar powered, and it's just almost like living at home but on wheels.
And the advantage to the RV trailer, I think, is that so when you're in a tow trailer, then you can't be in there. But when you're in a motorhome or a RV, you can go back there, make a sandwich, come back. You know what I mean? Like if you're on the highway.
Yeah.
It's not recommended, but there's only 2 seats and the rest are like at the table and stuff.
Yeah, so you can just kind of hang out.
So you hang out there, you can do stuff and whatnot. It's not like you're trapped in the car.
Yeah. Have you ever been in an RV?
I have been in one, never camped in one. My mom did. When my mom, right before she went to college, her whole family did a tour of the U.S. I think they did 46 states or something.
Whoa. That's
so they just toured.
Yeah. How long did that take?
I don't know. It was a while, though.
I remember I had this one guy at work, and
they didn't stay very long.
He took a week off from work, and he was going RV camping, and they rented an RV, and they decided they were going to go to California. So they went to California, and it takes like 3 days or driving just to get there. So the guy decided, they just kept like camping, and we were at work. We're like, wait, he had a week off from vacation, and he didn't show up for 3 weeks. And they're like, the upper management was like, do you still work here?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I didn't have enough time. I just got out to California. And I didn't have any time to do anything, so I just stayed out. And they're like,
it's not how real world works, buddy.
So, so if you go camping, make sure you
lose your
plan
job
enough time.
101.
Yeah. Well, he could have at least called and asked for more time.
So if I'm remembering right, they think they went out multiple summers.
Oh, okay.
So they do it all summer.
So it wasn't
my grandmother was a teacher, and my grandfather was the head of the testing department for Merck. So
you're saying they did it on multiple occasions?
Yeah, not all 46 was one summer, but I think
I was like, wow, that's a lot of driving.
I think they did it in like 2, maybe 3 trips. Like they were booked. They basically just went and saw all the sites.
I was thinking you would have had to be going for 6 months.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 summers or something.
Yeah. So that's RV camping. So what's next on our list here?
Next we got hammock camping. Now I've been doing lots of research because I want to actually get into hammock camping. I have hammocks, and hammocks are really comfortable.
Now, these hammocks that you use for camping, though, they're a lot more. Are they more complicated than like the one you would put in your backyard?
So they're not.
Like, are they
they're,
fully enclosed? Like,
have you
close them off?
seen the one that I have?
No, no.
So I have two of them. They're two-person hammocks. I probably wouldn't do 2 people in it if you're trying to camp in it.
Yeah.
But they're basically like the cocoon ones that you see. So they wrap up in like that little bundle that's probably like 4 by 6 inches or something.
Yeah.
And so that's straps and hammock included. And so there's a couple things you can do. Some companies will sell a tarp to go over the top. You do tarp. You can do a mosquito net around the whole thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about like bugs.
And then there's also called an underquilt.
Okay.
Where it's this thing that goes underneath. Because even in the summertime, it gets cold because all you have is wind rushing underneath you. So you put this underquilt in there. So it's designed to stay like a couple inches, an inch, or I think it's inch to 3 inches off of your back. And so it creates a warm air pocket underneath you to keep you warm during the night.
Oh, okay.
But people will do sub-zero.
Oh, really?
Degree Fahrenheit.
I don't think I want to do it on a windy night.
Camping. Because they'll just get a thick underquilt. And it'll be fine.
I was at Peace Valley Park here, and some guy had like a hammock and was up in a tree. Like I think it was a holiday that we were there, and he was actually one of the workers there, I think. And he was just like had this hammock up in the tree, and I'm like, can we rent a kayak? And the guy was like up in the tree, and I'm like, it was kind of an odd thing, but I was
like high up there.
Not super high. You know, he was probably about 10 feet up.
Yeah, that's kind of high.
And it was funny because
we're like the way I've done it is usually like you put it 3 feet, 4 feet off the ground, maybe.
Yeah, this was above my head.
It'll come down.
He was above my head.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I'm 6 foot, so I'm thinking it was at least 10 feet up.
He's trying to show off or something.
Well, I think he was just like he wasn't obviously camping. He was just like hanging out in a hammock really high in a tree while he was supposed to be working. And when we went up to ask this was when my niece and nephew came up and we were doing some canoeing, and for some reason, like the guys were sitting there. He's talking to these guys at a picnic table, which seemed like they were just friends hanging out, and he was actually working, but he was in a hammock. And
they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Me and Christine have not camped, but we've taken naps in the single 2-person one.
Yeah, yeah.
Sit together. I don't know if I'd want to do a whole night that way, but we have to wait till Elijah gets a little older.
Okay. And then he gets a little cocoon tent.
Yeah, well, they make
hammock.
hammocks that are like, they're basically like hanging bassinets.
Oh, okay.
That you can do.
Yeah.
But
you're saying he would be older than that, though.
Yeah, maybe when he turns 2.
Oh,
we could start with that. Because then he could lay in the hammock with one of us.
You're just starting to do your little hammock backyard camping.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
I got one tree in my backyard.
So
it's kind of hard to tie up a hammock with one tree.
You better start growing a tree now. All right, so the next one is dry camping. Okay, so dry camping is when you go out and you basically have everything that you plan on using with you, right?
Yeah, so like the dry camping is you have RV and trailer camping, and that's when you don't have for those you need hookups.
Yeah.
So you hook up to the sewage line and you hook up to the water line.
So this one you're
at a campground.
So this one you have to have all your water and
yeah, so
I guess
you probably have a
outdoor
bucket.
Facilities.
You have a bucket with a seat on it probably.
Okay.
To go to the bathroom, or you can just, use nature's facilities, but it's basically off-grid camping, kind of. Like, you can go anywhere with it.
I don't know if a lot of the national parks, they used to let you go out there and camp like that.
Yeah.
And they would even have sites, but they had no facilities or anything.
Yeah, it's just
there.
like a clearing that you can camp at, but you have to make sure you bring everything with you.
Yeah, okay.
It's basically tent camping in a car. All right, guys, that's the end of our first part of our 3-part series. We will see you guys again next week for the second part. Don't forget that you guys can contact us by email at thetheory@maximpactkarate.com, and we will see you guys next week.